All right, let's talk about AI. The conversation around it is, well, it's loud, and it's pretty confusing. So who should we actually be listening to? Today, we're going to break down a really sharp argument from Waydell d. Carvalho that helps cut through all that static and gives us a new way to think about who the real experts are.
So Carvalho kicks things off by pointing out that all this chaos in the AI debate, it's not actually new. In fact, he says it's a pattern we've all seen play out very recently in a completely different and very high-stakes field.
And there it is. A pretty provocative comparison, right? He's drawing a direct line between the AI debate and the public health discourse, suggesting that the people with actual hands-on experience, the doctors and nurses in this analogy, are getting drowned out by voices that just happen to be the loudest. So that's the core idea to start with. We're seeing the same thing happen all over again. The topic might have changed from medicine to technology, but that dynamic, expertise versus just plain noise, it's exactly the same.
This really lays it out. On one side, you have the builders. These are the folks in the trenches, the engineers and researchers who have to deal with the messy reality of how this stuff actually works. They know the limits, they see the trade-offs. And on the other side, the critics, who often operate in the world of hypotheticals and worst-case scenarios, speaking with this absolute certainty that you can only really have when you don't have to build the thing yourself.
And this is the engine that drives the whole thing, isn't it? Fear just spreads faster than nuance. It's so much easier, and it gets way more clicks to talk about a scary robot takeover than it is to explain the complicated, nuanced reality that the builders are grappling with every single day.
But, and this is important, this is where Carvalho's argument takes a sharp turn. He says that this whole builders versus critics idea, while it seems right at first, isn't actually the real divide. It's a starting point, but it misses a much deeper point.
So that's the central question we have to ask ourselves. Is the line we should be drawing really between the people who build this stuff and the people who critique it? And the answer is a very clear no. This is the pivot for the entire argument. The true divide, the one that actually helps us make progress, is something else entirely. And here it is. This is the core framework. The argument is that we need to stop caring so much about who is speaking and start paying attention to how they're speaking. The real divide isn't builders versus non-builders, it's between grounded criticism and ungrounded criticism.
Okay, so what does that even mean? Grounded, ungrounded, what's the difference? Let's really break down what each of these looks like.
This chart just makes it crystal clear. Grounded critics, they understand the actual limits of the technology. They can point to real, specific mechanisms of how something might fail, and most importantly, they propose actual controls. The ungrounded critics, they tend to speak in vibes. You know the type. They jump to conclusions, and they make that classic error of confusing something that is remotely possible with something that is remotely probable.
So why does this matter so much? Because this whole framework, it's a tool. It's a filter that lets us separate the useful signal from all the distracting noise that, honestly, just doesn't help anyone move forward.
And this kind of brings us to the ultimate litmus test, right? Whether you're talking about AI or really any complex system, the question is simple. Can you explain a specific way this thing could fail, and then propose a plausible way to control that failure? If the answer is no, then according to Carvalho, you're not contributing to the solution. You're just adding to the noise.
And that's the final takeaway. It's so powerful. We do not need more noise. What we need are people who get the system, who understand it deeply enough to actually make it better. So the challenge this leaves us with is this. The next time you hear someone critique AI, just ask yourself, is this grounded or is this just vibes? Is it signal or is it noise?